I wouldn't say we're completely hard-hearted cynics on this channel, but the last time I had a real human feeling was the time I stepped on a Lego in bare feet, and I barely felt that. Therefore, you can imagine our surprise when we encountered these hidden secrets in video games and found that the stories behind them were so sweet and so heartfelt, we may have even said, "Aww." So brace yourself for all the feels and have a look at these touching Easter eggs that will melt your icy heart faster than a three-legged puppy that's a guide dog for another puppy that's blind.
Mr. Iwata? Mr. Iwata? Oh, wow. Yes, we're ready to start filming the Nintendo digital event for E3 2015.
Okay, thank you. I will head directly to the stage.
When legendary and much-loved Nintendo chief Satoru Iwata passed away in 2015, we were devastated. As bereft as Iwata's passing left the world of video games, he lives on through his vast and enduring legacy, which will shape the games industry for a long time to come. He also lives on in here, the Nintendo Switch. Yes, because he was head developer on it before he passed, but also because of an Easter egg hidden in the system that is both crafty and heartwarming. The 1984 game Golf for the NES was one of the first games Satoru Iwata programmed for Nintendo. It was a trailblazing golf sim in which a sportsman who looked curiously like an off-duty Mario played around without the benefit of modern gaming's individually rendered blades of photorealistic grass or a round ball. More like 4 pixels, am I right? Yeah, never mind. Not long after the launch of the Switch, the clever folks at website SwitchBrew discovered an emulated version of Iwata's NES golf game tucked away inside the Switch's firmware. It turned out that to access the secret game locked away inside the Switch, players had to perform the signature hand gesture that Iwata would bust out for Nintendo Direct videos.
Directly to you.
What's more, the gesture had to be performed on the 11th of July, the day on which Iwata passed in 2015. In this way, one of Iwata's earliest works for Nintendo is preserved within his final one, locked quietly away inside every Switch unit all over the world. For an additional hit of all the feels, consider how localization producer Justin Epperson compared the way the Switch contains a secret copy of Iwata's early golf game to a traditional Japanese omamori, a kind of amulet that is sealed around an inscription to confer good luck or protection. Wow, that is quite the tribute, and rightly so. Switch developers, we salute you.
If you were a kid in the 1990s, the highest form of literature was Nintendo Power, the monthly games magazine that was full of reviews, tips, and fundamental misunderstandings about the colour of Mario's hat. What it also included, however, was money can't buy contests, including, in late 1990, the opportunity to get your name programmed into a future NES game by taking a photo of you encountering Warmech in Final Fantasy and sending it into the magazine.
The contest is closed now.
What?
Yeah, the contest closed in 1990 and Nintendo Power closed in 2012.
This is an absolute fix! Still, the contest's eventual winner, one Chris Houlihan, was probably wondering where his video game shoutout was when, a full year after winning, he still hadn't appeared in any NES games, and now the Super Nintendo was on shelves, making his chances of appearing in any future NES games smaller than a mushroomless Mario. What he probably wouldn't have predicted is that very soon after that, Nintendo would stay true to their word and, even better, put his name into one of the biggest, best and most iconic games of the entire 16-bit generation, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. He was probably quite pleased though. Chris Houlihan's secret room, as it came to be known, is just that, a secret room that can be accessed a number of ways and which contains a king's ransom in blue rupees, as well as a tile on the back wall that, when pressed, gives you a brief message from Chris himself. So that's one Kid's Day made. In fact, probably all that Kid's Days between 1991 and now. As for me, I'm legally changing my name to Captain Falcon. Who's in a Nintendo game now, Chris Houlihan?
Clax was an Atari puzzle game in which you had to line up rows of coloured blocks in order to make them disappear. I know, original concept, right? Still, when it came time for the game to be ported to the Game Boy Color, game developer Megg took the opportunity to sneak a little something extra into the game, namely a marriage proposal. As revealed in a video interview with Wired, Mika's then girlfriend loved puzzle games, and as he was working on a puzzle game at the time, he decided to hide his proposal in the game as a romantic secret for her to find. The only problem was that she, like a lot of people, didn't really want to play clacks. Eventually, after close to 3 years of her totally ignoring clacks, Tips and Tricks magazine called Mika and asked him if he had any secrets he hadn't revealed to anyone. The magazine then printed step-by-step instructions along with his girlfriend's name, and Mika left the magazine out on his coffee table alongside the Game Boy with the copy of clacks. This must have slightly undermined the element of surprise, but still, she followed the instructions and was greeted with a photo of the two of them together along with his proposal. At least, we think that's a photo of the two of them. It's hard to tell with those Game Boy graphics. Anyway, she said yes and no one had to play clacks anymore, so a happy ending all round. If you're wondering what Mika's up to these days, he was most recently in the news for modding Donkey Kong so that his daughter could play as Pauline rescuing Mario, which goes to show that Mickey almost certainly made the right decision. Still not a clacks fan though, I assume.
It's no coincidence that Nintendo keep cropping up on this list, because that company is more heartwarming than a plate of deep-fried mac and cheese. They recently cemented that reputation with a little Easter egg hidden not in a piece of software, but in an actual physical object. That object is the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller, a Switch accessory for people who want to control their console with an actual controller rather than tiny Joy-Cons or, motion controls. In the right lighting, the Pro Controller's casing is slightly translucent, so you can see through it into the circuity innards beneath. It's a message from Nintendo to its fans, which was presumably written by the company's resident 13-year-old, as it reads, "Thanks to all game fans," or "Thanks to all game fans" in human speak. You are welcome, Nintendo. You can thank us with some Breath of the Wild story DLC. Cheers.
Most people love their pets, but not many would go to the lengths of game developer Shu Takami, who loves his pet so much that he made an Easter egg out of him. Not literally, that'd be weird. If you played Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, you'll know Missile, the Pomeranian dog who you save on several occasions, who then becomes a ghost capable of swapping objects with similar shapes. What you might not know is that Missile is also the name of Shu Takami's real-life pet Pomeranian, who, as far as we know, isn't capable of swapping objects with similar shapes. What he is capable of is melting our hearts, because oh my god, look at his little face. This isn't the only time Shu has put Missile into a game. A dog called Missile also shows up in Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, and although that dog is a Shiba Inu, it's clear that it's a reference to Takami's beloved Pom. Because of this cameo, Missile also appears in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to assist Phoenix Wright in battle. The upshot is you can engineer a situation in which Missile knocks out the Incredible Hulk.
Perfect! KO!
To be honest, if I had a dog that could do that, I'd also put him in every game I worked on.
Come on, we've got to get the hell out of here!
Positions Alpha through Sierra.
If I told you a message written in bullets and blood could be romantic, you'd probably say, "A bunch of flowers will be fine, thanks." And yet, in the original Halo, there's a hidden love note rendered in blood and bullets that is more heartwarming than a thermal tube top. The Easter egg in question is a roughly heart-shaped daubing of presumably human blood on the ceiling of the UNSC ship, the Pillar of Autumn, on which the letter M is inscribed in bullet holes. The M stands for Megg, the name of the girlfriend of Halo lead designer Jamie Griesemer, who secretly slapped this bloody graffiti on the ceiling of a spaceship as a thoughtful gift to the lucky lady. As a grand romantic gesture, this ranks above both getting a tattoo and hiring a skywriter. Accessing the Easter egg is quite the rigmarole, as this footage captured by our intrepid Halo correspondent, me, attests. It involved entering the game in legendary difficulty, hopping up on canisters, committing treason against your commanding officer.
What the hell are you doing? Security to the bridge. The Master Chief has gone rampant. Take him down, boys.
And then not being obliterated by some invincible Marines who emerge from a secret door which will, if you remain unobliterated, lead you to the Easter egg itself. Cute. I mean, what do you get the woman who has everything? This is what?
The first time I saw you, I knew we'd be linked forever. For you, I traveled to the four corners of the world. I faced adversity. I became a hero.
Dad.
I saved your kingdom.
Dad.
Yes, Zelda?
Are you mixing me up with the princess again?
Hard to say, you're both pretty magical.
The sadly departed Robin Williams was many things. Stand-up comedian, actor, voiceover artist, and, it turned out, massive Nintendo fanboy. Williams was such a huge Nintendo fan that he named his daughter Zelda after the Hyrule royalty of the same name. And though it hasn't been fully confirmed, most fans are of the opinion that Nintendo acknowledged Williams' love for these games with a memorial to the actor in this year's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you find yourself by Foothill Stable, just south of Death Mountain, you might run into a character named Dato, who seems to be having trouble deciding if he should continue his journey on foot or on horseback. Take a closer look at Dato's face though, and you'll recognise the distinctive features of Robin Williams looking back at you in what we're convinced is a loving tribute to one of Zelda's loyalist fans. This is in addition to the rumoured Iwata tribute seen here. They're both wonderful, but now I need to put the Switch down for a while instead of fighting Ganon. No, you're tearing up.
Well, that was a refreshing bit of heartwarming, you know, really gets the old human emotions going, right? Is that what it's like?
These emotions I'm feeling.
Yeah. That was, yeah, there's blood pumping through our veins right now.
While we're on this emotional high.
Yeah, before you come down off this emotional high, why not click through to Outside Xbox videos up here and Outside Xbox videos down here, or subscribe here. Let's have all that goodwill, warm human emotions invested in subscribing to our channel.